This episode of Make Live is brought to you by DigiKey.
Makers love bikes, and I think it's because they're pretty simple machines, especially when compared to something like a car. The parts are all user serviceable, everything's adjustable with an Allen wrench, and that makes it really easy to maintain and modify bikes on your own. So I'd like to introduce you to my bike and show you some things about it.
Great.
Let me head on over there.
Cool. So this looks like a pretty nice bike. Where'd you get it?
I got this bike from a guy who, on the NYC bike forums, who made it for his girlfriend, and she never rode it, so he sold it to me. It's a standard road bike, single speed, with a freewheel, so I can coast. So let me show you a bit about the anatomy. Any bike you're going to get has a frame. Mine's made out of steel. It has the top tube, the down tube, the seat tube, the rear triangle, the fork, which pivots through the head of the bike, which is attached to the handlebars by the stem. And then, of course, the seat post and the saddle, and the tires and the brakes. And those are all the parts. The really interesting part is the drive part of the bicycle. Okay. So, of course, you pedal, right? And the pedal's attached to a crank, which turns this big gear called a chain ring. And that allows the chain to transfer force from the pedals over to the cog, which is another gear that's attached to the back wheel. And you'll notice that my bike, when I pedal backwards, you hear that noise and the bike wheel doesn't turn. And that's because I have a Freewheel hub. Okay. I think we have a diagram of how a Freewheel hub works. It basically catches in one direction and allows the thing to turn freely in the other direction. It's got these little ball bearings that push against a spring, and it's just some geometry that allows it to catch and drive in the forward direction and slide on by with that cute noise going backwards. So here in New York City, that's pretty good for me when I'm going fast down the bridge, or I like to be able to coast. But if you
live in a city like San Francisco,
if you had a fixed, so the alternative is to have a fixed hub, and that means that when the wheel is spinning, the pedals are always turning. Right. So if you're going down one of those big San Francisco hills, you're going to be like this, which I mean you see happen, but it's a little bit crazy. It's bad for your knees.
Right, and I noticed that you don't have a lot of other gears here. Usually I see a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
It's because it's a single speed.
Right. If you have a geared bicycle, you're probably going to have more than one chain ring and then a lot of gears back here on the rear hub. I mean, I ride single speed because it's easier for me to maintain the bike myself. I can do more of the maintenance. And I also like the city's pretty flat, so I don't really need a ton of gears, and I just work out cardiovascularly when I want to go up a hill. But it's also easier if you want to make sure your bike parts don't get stolen. So if you had a derailleur and all these other chain rings, you might find that parts of your bike might get stolen. So that's the drive mechanism. We can talk about the tires. These are just standard road tires, and the brakes. I have caliper brakes on my bike. So when I squeeze
Let me zoom in on those.
Oh yeah, when I squeeze the lever, it pinches right on the. Maybe you switch to the close-up cam. The brakes pinch the rim of the tire, thereby braking. And your brake pads, you want to make sure you have a nice big chunk of rubber on your brake pads. Mine's actually a little bit low. And that it's aligned properly with the rim, not the tire, so that you don't wear out your tire. So those are the brakes. The next thing I want to talk about is bike security. It's one of my favorite topics. I lock my bike up outside all the time, and it really bugs me when I see people's bikes locked improperly. Right. It's really sad because it's like, oh, that bike's probably going to get stolen. So I want to show you how to lock your bike properly, and hopefully everyone at home too. Maybe you can help me out. We can use that cardboard tube, and we can pretend that that's something a little more sturdy.
Like a light post or a parking meter or something? Okay.
And you'll notice this is my bike lock. It's a standard U-lock. You'll always want to lock your bike to something more secure and heavier duty than your lock. So no small trees or construction scaffolding. Really, you want to go for something strong like a bike rack or a parking meter, something like that. Okay. And one of the best ways to lock your bike is through the frame and the front wheel. What you're looking for is to deter theft as much as possible, right? The front wheel is really easy to steal because you just have to take it off. It's not attached to anything else. The rear wheel is a little more difficult because you have to disengage the chain. So bike thieves want to be quick and take your bike away really fast. So one of the best things you can do is to lock around the object, around the frame, and through that front wheel of your bike. It's not always possible with my lock. If I'm locking to a parking meter that's kind of fat, I can't really get it around both. So I have to kind of compromise. But this is really a really optimal way to lock your bike. Oftentimes I'll see bikes that are locked improperly. They're locked improperly in one of two ways. Over here against the fork.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you can put the tube there. It's really sad when you see a bike locked like this. Because not only does it go around the spokes of the bike wheel, not the rim of the bike wheel, so you can just clip the spokes and steal the wheel.
I see.
But it's not actually locking the frame at all. Like once this bike wheel is gone, the lock will just slip right off of the fork, and you've got a free bike frame. So that's really sad. Another way that I see bikes locked improperly often also is just around the here.
Oh, okay.
Around the stem. And you can remove the handlebars with an Allen wrench, and then boop, then you've got the whole bike for free. It's really sad. So I'll show you another cool way, I think, of locking a bike. You want to put the tube right behind that rear wheel. This is my favorite kind of sneaky way of locking your bike. So what would you think typically I would say would be wrong with this, Matt, the way I lock this just now?
I would say you're not locking the frame, just the wheel.
Right. Well, I've locked to the rear wheel, but it's through this rear triangle. So that means that you can't really steal the frame. It's kind of tricky. If you were to take off the rear wheel, because you're trying to steal the bike, you would have to pull then the wheel and the stationary object out through these two pieces of the rear triangle, which means you can't do it. So the frame and the wheel are secure as long as nobody cuts through the rim of your bike wheel.
That's crazy. It looks so loose. It doesn't look like it would be very secure, but I can see how it is actually pretty secure.
Yeah. So that's my trick.
Cool.
Secret bike lock.
Neat. And you have other strategies for security?
Yeah. So when I lock my bike, I used to ride my bike to school when I was in college all the time. What you do is you park your bike next to a more attractive, less securely locked bike. You pick somebody with a pretty bike who doesn't know how to lock it, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll pull up right next to it, lock up, and you're all set. Because really, the bike thief can only carry so many bikes at once and is going to go for the easiest target.
Right.
With the highest resale value. Speaking of resale value, Rick Polito in Make Volume 11, which is all about alternative transportation, he did this project called Ugly Your Bike, and he took his beautiful new Bianchi, which got that signature green color. It's a really nice bike, and he made it look like a piece of crap that nobody would want to steal. So he did this like rust finish on it, and he ripped up the seat and put electrical tape on it, and basically it rides like a great bike, but it looks like a piece of junk that nobody would want to steal.
Yeah,
so that's
I don't know if I could do that to a brand new bike. That would be tough, I think. You know, the way I am with my gadgets, I don't want any scratches on them. So if I got a brand new bike, I don't...
I know, and you can see my bike's not rusty either. Like, I like to see it nice and clean.
Right.
But one thing that I do that is sort of along those lines is I always carry a plastic bag under here. I have one over here. I always put a plastic bag tucked under my saddle for in case it rains. And I just throw it over the seat when I go in somewhere, and then you can't see that I have a bike saddle worth stealing.
Right.
It protects it from the rain, too.
Oh, cool. Cool. It makes it just look a little more junky.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Those are my tips for keeping your bike from getting stolen. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is visibility, which is really important when you're riding your bike for safety, because motorists, they're not looking for you. And the first thing that I do is I do the standard front and rear light. So you have a red blinky light on the back and a white light on the front. And these are really easy to make yourself. They're just LEDs, and, you know, try with some coin cell batteries, just play around. It's like a fun little circuit you can make. We have a project in Make Volume 14, which is how to make your own mini bike light. It's a pretty neat project.
Oh, pretty cool.
And then I also have this reflective tape. It looks black under regular light, but when you have a flash on it or some car headlights, it turns bright white. Kind of incredible. They can make it in all different colors too.
Now, this is incredible. You guys wouldn't believe this. It really looks just like the finish on a normal bike. I almost can't believe that. I can't believe that this would be, you know, would be a reflector.
Yeah. So we have a picture of what it looks like under the flash.
Check that out.
Right?
It's incredible. Now, where could someone find something like this?
Well, this is it's made by 3M. It's like this Scotch light reflective stuff. But this guy makes a kit to make your bike bright, a bright bike kit, and it comes with like a piece of this all pre-cut into little strips for your bike.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat. And I see you have some other sort of light up stuff.
Oh yeah, so when you talk the fun side of visibility, I don't know that these are strictly for safety, but for fun, I have these two persistence of vision displays on my rear wheel to show you.
Let me get the camera.
You would normally only put one on each wheel maybe, but it's easier to spin up on the show here when it's on the rear wheel. So the first one is this monkey light. And it's basically 2 rows of RGB LEDs that you attach with zip ties along the spoke of your bike here. And when I spin it, it's going to create these rotational patterns that are visible because of the persistence of vision effect in your brain. And so I can spin that up, but we're not going to be able to see it in the light. So here it is spinning, and then Matt will roll.
Show you what it looks like
you can
when
see a little
it's dark.
bit. Yeah, in the dark. There you go. That's what it looks like. Some rotational patterns. So this one, it doesn't really know which side is up or down. So it's just loaded with a bunch of really pretty RGB rotational patterns so that they're symmetrical no matter which way is up.
Okay, so you couldn't have like red on top or white on bottom or how?
Yeah, it's always just spinning.
Okay.
But it is tricolor and really fun. You get some like purple and really nice colors.
Cool.
So that's cool. And then the other one, it has a few different features. Cool. This is the Spoke POV by Adafruit. And while it's only one color, I have blue LEDs in mine. Let's see if we can wake it back up. It also has a Hall effect sensor up here. And that's going to sense when it goes by the magnet I have attached to the rear triangle of my frame right in there. See the magnet?
Oh, cool.
And so it kind of knows when it goes by the magnet, so it knows which place is up. So here, let me spin that one up for you. And like maybe you'll be able to see it even.
Oh,
yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
it's our logo.
You can kind of see the Make Live logo.
And we also have a video of it in the dark.
Let's check it out in the dark.
Woo.
There you go. Make Live. Now that's pretty incredible that you can actually program it to have anything you want. Is that a very hard thing to do, to program that?
Well, there's software. I mean, Lamore Freed was on our show. She wrote some software that you can import like a bitmap, which is what I did, and then kind of adjust it in the software on this like wheel graph paper kind of thing.
Oh,
it's
cool.
not too bad. It's an intermediate level hardware and software project.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
Super fun. And it kind of knows when you stop at a stop sign too. It times out, which is pretty cool. The other one just keeps blinking.
Right.
You get a lot of compliments on it at stoplights or going down the bridge. Hey, nice light! As they go by. Usually they're screaming by me because I'm a little slow. All right, cool. So that's visibility of all kinds. Let's talk about tools and maintenance.
Okay.
When I'm at home, there's basically 2 things I do with my bike. I can change a flat, and I can make a bunch of adjustments, like to my seat with an Allen wrench. So in order to change your tube, when you get a flat, you need a crescent wrench, take off your wheel, because that's what the nuts are, and you need tire levers to take off your bike tire and get to the tube that has a hole in it.
Okay.
You need a patch kit, not shown, and that you can use to patch a hole, and then put a new tube in. So I just use the crescent wrench, the tire levers, and this multi-Allen tool, which has Allen wrenches of all different sizes, which I use for adjusting the seat and the stem and the brakes and everything. It also has a chain tool on it, although I'm not so proficient at adjusting my own chain. But this week on the site, right, there was a thing.
I did see a tutorial on magazine.com that showed how to use one of these tools to fix the chain. It's pretty neat.
Well, so maybe I'll learn that, and that'll be the third thing I can do with my bike. So I use those things at home. And then like the bike tubes are a super cool material. I like have a thing for them. It's like this cool rubber, and like when you have a busted bike tube, you don't just want to throw it in the trash. You can make the quintessential wallet. I did a video on making a bike tube headband. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. So once they've outlived their patching life, use them for something else. And I always carry one with me because I have kind of smaller tires than most road bikes have. So if I get a flat on the road, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to find a bike shop that'll have like a pressurized, like a bike pump. But they won't necessarily have my tube. So I always bring an extra.
Spare.
Fun fact about bike tubes, they're not manufactured in the U.S. anymore. So when the zombie apocalypse happens, there's not going to be any more container ships coming over with bike tubes.
Sure.
There's going to be all these cars gridlocked everywhere. You're going to want to ride your bike. There's going to be broken glass everywhere, so you're going to get a flat.
Yep.
And you're going to need bike tubes. So start hoarding them now, and they'll be currency later.
Okay, I'll go write that down. Hoard stock up on bike tubes for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, very important.
Okay.
So that's what I do at home. But when I'm on the road, I always make sure to have a tube, the tire levers, and the patch kit and my Allen key. And I just put them in my messenger bag or whatever. But our friend Nick Normal, who you might remember from Maker Faire, New York, he has a really unique way of storing his bike maintenance repair kit. So we have a video of that, and we should roll it.
Hey Becky and Matt, Nick here. I'm going to show you my mobile bike repair kit. This is what I take with me when I'm on the go in New York City. So first I start with a Parmesan cheese container, and I'll show you what I got. So I stuff a rag in there. So I've always got a rag with me. Handy crescent wrench. This is my multi-tool. Most of the nuts on my bike fit here and here, so I've always got that with me. This is a self-vulcanizing patch repair kit, very useful. This is a multi-tool that has a LED on the front in case I'm working at night. I've also got 2 handy Allen wrenches. This is 3/16 and this is 5/32, so all the Allen bolts on my bike fit those. And last but not least, I've got this previously Dean & DeLucia spice container that holds a lot of useful little bits. So I've got a sort of mini first aid kit in here if I need. I've got a compass in case I don't know where I'm going. And you can see I've got some zip ties in there in case I need to zip anything to my bike frame, and a bungee cord and a C-clamp. And the best part about the Parmesan cheese container is that it fits perfectly into the water bottle holder that you put on your down tube on your bike.
That was great. Thanks so much, Nick.